Hi guys. So this is what your kit is going to look like. Of course it'll be in a little package. These are the beads that I'm using today. These are a size 8. Also, these are a size 8 too. These are a size 11. As the beads get smaller, the number gets higher. So usually I would use size 11, size 10 or 11 beads in black to do this, but as I was making my kits, I ran out of them. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the big black ones in a size 8. So in your kit, you're going to have your poppy. You're going to have this little ball with 2 of your needles in it. I use them so you don't poke yourselves, hopefully. You're going to have thread, which you need to use to create your project. This thread, I believe, is 64 yards, so that's a lot of thread. You're going to also have the red backing. For as long as I have the red, you may end up with deer backing. I mean, this is red deer, but as I run out of the red, it's really hard to find. And I'll be able to replace it with the beige or the tan deer, which is this color, of course. What else do you have in your kit? You also will have this little pin, which we're going to attach at the back, like so. And hopefully it'll all go well. You'll need a little bit of glue. I use E6000 glue. Not very hard to find. Wonderful glue for crafting. So go ahead and get yourself some of that. And you'll be able to finish this project with me. All right. Okay, so I'm going to move this out of the way now that you've seen it. I'll leave that out. It's very pretty to look at. And I'm going to go ahead and start beading my poppy. Now this is by far what I would say is the most difficult part of your beading project for this poppy. It's the center of the flower. Now I want you to remember that as you're doing this, you want to stay in the black. If you don't get it perfectly aligned or perfectly circular, it's fine because this paper comes out at the end. No flower is perfect. As you can see, this one's not perfect. It is beautiful. So yeah, everybody's is going to be different. So I've gone ahead and loaded my needle with my thread. As you can see here, I put the thread on and then it's double, double, double. And then at the end, I keep going. This is one single strand. And then I tie 2 or 3 knots on the end here. It's going to take practice to get them on top of each other, but I'm sure you'll figure it out. All right, so here we go. All right, here's my needle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the silver in the center of this one for you. I believe it will help you see it better. And this is how we start. We go in through the bottom, try to get to the center of your poppy. You can see where the thread is here. I'm going to put 1 bead on. So this is going to be your center bead, okay? This one, you put it all the way down here. Now, to make sure it stays on, what I want you to do is move it out of the way and use your needle and go back down through the center part of your poppy. So by doing that, it brings your bead up like so. You can leave your bead facing this way if you'd like, or if you pull tight, you can get it to go right there, standing up. Then with your needle, you go back up through the center, not the center, but close to, because you're going to put more beads around this one. All right, so I've come back up. Now I have my thread very close to that bead. And I'm going to add some beads. Now I believe if they're a size 10 or 11, you're going to need about 7 beads. But you can figure that out as you're going. So as you can see, I got all my beads on here. I'm going around the center. What I'm trying to do is get them as close, but not too tight. So as you can see there, I have them all the way I want them. So now with your needle and thread, I want you to go through this first bead that you laced on there. Okay, the very first bead. Hold your beads down with your finger because you don't want them to go all over the place. Pull your thread all the way through. You don't have to have as much thread as I do on mine. You can go with less thread. So now it's a little circle and it's around your center bead. Okay. At this point, you take your needle. Where that came out, you go down. Try to get it tight as you want it to be. Okay. Put your thumb on it and pull through. Pull tight. There we have it. So as you're going now, you're going to want to tack them down. So this is basically the stitch we're going to be using all the way through. So I'm going to show you how to do it if I can get my hand untangled. So you come up from the bottom and you come up between the bead, okay? Between the bead in the center and this line of beads around it. And you pull. Okay, hold it with your thumb. Now, the purpose of this stitch, all you're doing is tacking down the little piece of thread that's between the beads. So then you go back down and you pull. So one is tacked. So I turn it. I do another one, back up through there. Now, I do every single bead, okay? Some of us love to bead, some of us don't. Some of us are just learning. As you're going, I would say try to do, if not every one like I'm doing, every second bead. This is going to help you with keeping your beads exactly where you want them to be. And it makes it more beautiful when you keep them where you want them and they stay where they're supposed to be. Okay, so you see I'm going around, I'm coming through right here, and that's again between the row you put on and the center bead, and then you're between every one or every second one, you're going down again and tacking that thread down. This will keep your beads where you want them, how you like them. But again, beading isn't perfect either. It's never exactly the same because everybody is different. I mean, when you think about it though, neither is a flower. So I think that's all of them. As you're going, you want to keep them pretty tight, of course. Then when you touch them, they don't move. They look nice. I think they look nice. This is by far the hardest part of doing this poppy. So I'll keep going and show you the rest. So now I've come out here at the back. So what I want to do now is I want to do the edge of the bead. So the outline is probably more of what we're doing. So you start right beside here. You can put another row of beads on if you want. It's up to you. I kind of like it with just the one. But on this one, I did 2. Yeah. So this is, I'm just going to do 1 this time. I'm going to come up right beside it on the black line that I'm about to do. Okay. All right. So I'm going to turn it, change it to the black beads. Now, I would say when you're still learning, I wouldn't put too many on at a time. Some of us can put a whole bunch on, but I would say to just do about this many. Now, what you're doing here is you're lining them up. Of course, it's not going to be a straight line, okay? So you kind of I use my fingernail to kind of guide me a little bit. You want to keep it on the line, but it doesn't have to be perfect, again. So my beads are here. I'm going to go down with my needle right at the end, right about where I want them when they're tacked. And there we go. We have our first line on there. Okay, pull it a little bit tight. Now I'm back down at the back. Now I came down, I went down there. I'm going to come back up here. I find that helps with the tacking because you can pull it tight as like that. And use your fingernail to help you place your beads where you want them as you're tacking them down. If you want one a little further over here or a little further over there, you just push it further over. Don't get frustrated with yourselves. Definitely this takes a little bit of time. I've done quite a few of the poppies so far, so I'm a little bit faster, but the reason I'm sending the video is so that you can all do this as often as you'd like. This is a private video. I ask you not to share it with anybody because it's my business and, you know, keep it a little bit private for my clients. So, as people who have purchased my kit, you have a link to this video. I like to provide these videos so that people creating things, they can come to a class that I do or a workshop. But it's really difficult to do the whole thing in one sitting. I mean, if you get stuck at all, you're kind of in trouble because the rest of the class is moving on. So with these videos, it allows me to provide teaching to you guys, and you can rewind it, fast forward it, do whatever you'd like. You can go purchase these beads and you make yourself more poppies if you want to. Like I said, just your sizes. You want beading thread, and these are gold eye beading needles. They're wonderful. They're very sharp, so they can go through leather also if you add leather on anything, which we're going to do. Okay, so now at this point, I've tacked them all down. So now I'm coming up here because this, I'm going to tell you that this come up right between the last two beads, pull it all the way through, and then go back through that last bead. Now the reason for this is because now you're adding more beads, and by doing this, it's seamless. You won't see where you stopped or started. Okay. So again, you go through, come up through the last two beads, go through the last bead, and then you can add more. As you can see, it keeps it looking flawless. Okay, like you didn't have to stop and start again at all. All right, so again, you want to keep it where you want it. I like mine around there, I guess. So I'm going to go down right there. And I'm going to pull my beads on. See, they always look like a straight line, but you want to add a little bit of roundness because they're petals. Then you come up there on the first bead and you tack it down. Sometimes it's the second bead. Sometimes it can get a bit confusing which one you're trying to tack. It doesn't matter. I've tacked one bead 3 times one time. I'm going to go back up and try to tack this one down. I believe that is the first one. There we go. That one's tacked. So I'm coming up here now. Going over that little thread that's joining the two beads. And all this does is tack that little thread down. And then you go to the next. So careful not to poke yourself. It can be very sore. Not to mention you have to stop your beading. Oh, I think I might have tacked this one twice, but that's okay. It's not going to hurt anything. I make jokes about how I poke myself when I first started so many times that I had to stop beading, had to wait for it to stop bleeding. You don't want your blood all over everything. Although sometimes it's inevitable. You're using a needle. So you want to make sure that you try really hard not to have that happen. And it hurts. All right. So I'm kind of staying on the line. If ever I don't want to, if I want to make the petals bigger, I just make them bigger. go outside of that black line, go up higher. There we go. So now we have that petal half done. So again, we're at this point where we're down here at the back. So we have to come back up and add more beads. So let me show you a little bit better here. You come up between the two last black beads here. And then with your needle, in order to get all your thread where you want it, you go through this last bead. Whoop, there you go, like this. When you do that, it comes out, all your thread will come through. And again, you can see right here, it comes out this bead, and again, it will make it flawless. Let's add some more. Like I said, you can add more, you can add less. If you're a more experienced beader, go ahead and add more. This is like one needle beading applique. There's 2 needle also. I thought that for beginners, I would just do this. Because it can get a little bit confusing. Once you get the hang of this though, feel free. And what that does with 2 needle beading applique is you add 2 needles. One of your needles is going to hold all your beads, and you can put a whole bunch on there. And the other needle is going to be the one that tacks down every bead, or every second bead, like I said. I enjoy doing it that way, but this for beginners, I think is better. Makes it a little bit easier to understand and to do without your thread getting tangled. That is very frustrating. So when you're first starting, please don't put too much thread on, because if you do and it gets tangled, you'll be frustrated. That's the last thing that I want when I'm trying to teach you how to do something that I love doing, is for you to get frustrated. Another thing that I do with my thread, we all do, you'll see, you'll be going along beading and you think to yourself, oh, I have lots of thread left. I can do this, no problem. And then all of a sudden you get to the end and you're like, there, I did it. And you flip it over and you try to tie a knot to tie it off, and surprise, you don't have enough thread. So then you have to pull some beads out and you have to kind of start again. And that is so frustrating. So although you're having fun beading and you think you have enough, make sure you have enough. And if you think you don't, if you're worried about it, it's worth it to stop and reload your needle with thread and not keep going and then have to backtrack. All right, there we go. So this one's almost done. Now this little section here is important to think about. Now, when I'm doing this, you don't want to go over beads or anything like that when they're in the way. So from here to here, I'm going to bead all the way to here. I'm going to leave a tiny space there. So don't put your beads all the way to the black line. Leave a tiny space. The reason for that is because once we've made it to here, we're going to come up, we're going to go back down, tack them all. Then when we come up, we're going to come up here and we're going to go around again. So as you're building this, like this, if there's a bead in the way, it's going to mess up the nice transition that we have, like this one, because it'll be right there in the way. So remember to leave a space. So I'm coming back up right here, going through this last bead again to make it pretty, to make it like a hidden there. Now the thread's coming here. So let me see. I have the bigger beads. Like I said, you have smaller ones, so you're going to have to do more tacking than I've been doing. I'm going to see what happens if I put 2. So if I put 2 beads on here, see, I have a space. I like that. I'm going to show you what happens. Let's say I put on a whole bunch of beads, like let's say 4 more beads. And then I'm like, oh my God, that's way too long. What do I do? Okay. So what you do is you put all the beads on. Okay. choose the ones you want to take off. I'm going to take 4 off. And what you do is with your needle, you go back through. Don't go this way. You go back through these 4 beads with your needle. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you hold your beads and you can pull them right off the end of your thread. And there, you're back to the 2 that you wanted. All right, so these last 2, I'm gonna put them where I want them again. Make sure that they kind of sit where I want them to sit. Right about, I'm gonna say here. Pull through. There they are. Okay, I'm gonna tack down between these ones because this is where we added the transition, right? From the ones that were tacked and then the new ones. So I'm gonna tack that down. And I'm gonna tack this down. I really enjoyed making this poppy. For a long time, I didn't want to make the poppies because I felt like I was taking away from our legions and taking away from our veterans. My grandfather, his brother, his father, all his brothers actually, and his father were all veterans. My grandpa was captured in Dieppe, had a really hard time. So did his brother, the 2 of them together in the same concentration camp. So it kind of plays with my heart. So what I've decided to do is, as I'm selling my kits, I'm going to donate to the veterans, maybe to the Métis Nation, maybe to another Indigenous organization, maybe to the Legion itself. Maybe I'll split it up. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing, but I just want to remind you to please, please, when you see that veteran holding those poppies, even if you don't take a poppy, donate. Because it is very important to do that. They take care of so many people. All right, enough said about that for now. So as you can see, there's a little space. I'm down here now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come up over here by this right here. Okay, I'm gonna pull through. Because I only put the 1 around, there's still like lots of black here, but don't worry, that's gonna be covered by beads. So start there, like close to these. All right, so then I'm going to keep going here. I want to show you what happens when you get past that 1 spot. All right, so here we go. When you tack them, look at that. It's going to be very well done. You won't even notice it. What you're doing really when you're beading is like drawing with your beads. So you have to think about things like, well, put it this way. If you're drawing with a Sharpie, a little thin Sharpie, you have more, you can put more detail. Whereas if you're using a big fat marker or Sharpie, you can draw things, but they're not as detailed. So it's the same thing with beads. The smaller they get, the easier it is to have more definition and design in your beading. But always remember, so because this is here, it looks seamless again. I pulled down, I'm down here. So I went down there, and now I'm coming up here because I want to pull it tight and I want to tack these beads over here. You can stay right on the line. It's a really great guide. Or you can move your beads over. Like maybe you want beads that, oh, did you see that? That went over my bead, but didn't go over the bead I was hoping it did. That will happen. All right, here we go, down on this side. And sometimes if it looks like it's not gonna go there, you can make it go there. You know, put your thumb over an area where it's trying to go so it can't, and you can guide it. All right. So when you come up, of course, you've been watching me. You come up on one side, you go down on the other. Oops, there we go. And now this one, you can come up on this side, that side, it doesn't matter. For the centerpiece, it kind of does. But for this part, it gets easier from here. Like I said, I think the centerpiece is the most difficult part. Down here, as you can see, again, we talked about this, but I'm doing every one. But it's a poppy. You're wearing it as a pin, this one. So, I mean, if you want to, you can tack down every second bead. It's up to you. I like to think about what I'm doing with what I'm beading. Like if I bead some vamps for a pair of moccasins, I want to make sure that those are going to stay because they're on your feet. You're walking a lot, you're kicking things by accident most of the time, stubbing a toe, all that stuff. It can be really hard on the beads. So definitely if I'm doing something that's going to be on a pair of moccasins or even a pair of mitts, I will tack every single one. And because that's what I do normally, I'm kind of stuck in my ways, I guess. All right. So to show you a little better, here we go. So we started here, we went around, we stopped and left the space, and now we're doing the same thing. So I'm going to do the rest of this, all right? And then I'm going to come back to you when I start the red. I will see you soon. Hi, I'm back again. I've finished around here, okay, around the edges here. So I have this little bit of thread. I'm actually going to tie it off and start with a new one to start doing the red beads. So what I do here is I tie a knot. You pull both sides, both ways, because you want it to be tight where you did it. Then you put your thumb and you pull. And see that little wee, it went exactly where I wanted it to go. I'm going to do another one because you don't want that to pull out at all. So again, you pull with your needle, pull with your hand. See how I have it here? Then I can see that it's going where I want it. I put my thumb on it and I pull, push down real tight, and I pull again. I'm going to put one more, pull. Use your fingers to spread it out so you can see. Put your thumb on it and pull it through. So there's 3 knots. I'm going to cut it off. Doesn't have to be right at the knot. And then I'm just going to discard this. I'm going to load my needle again and I'll be back. Now, I'm going to come back here again. I wanted to show you how I load my needle because it can be really difficult when you can't see it. You know, it's hard. I pull my thread right between my fingers like so. So you can barely see it. And then I take the head of the needle and I go right over it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I'm hoping it worked here. Nope. So I could keep doing this video until I get it, but it might take me a little while. Oh, I might have gotten it there. Nope, I didn't. So anyway, that's how you do it. You keep trying until you get it. if your thread frays at the end, which it can do sometimes, go ahead and cut it off and try again. Okay, so I got it threaded like so. Now I'm going to take this end and I'm going to tie these knots. I'm going to show you again. Okay. And you pull, there's one knot. Then you go back, put it through, tie it again. Whoops, that didn't work very well, did it? Oh, see, now I have two knots far apart. I'm going to try again. Maybe I can bring them together with this one. Let's see what happens. There. So I have 3 knots all together. Oh, look at that. No, I have 2. One more time. There. Ta-da. So I can cut this teeny tiny one off at the end because it's kind of useless. But I have 3 knots on top of them. Take this one off there. All right. Okay, here we are. We're done with the black, done with the silver for now. I'm going to start with the red. Okay. Now you can start pretty much anywhere you want to. I like to do a row of red right around where we did the black. Okay. So I'm going to just pick a place to start. Let's just pick right here. You know what? Let's just pick here. All right, so it's about a bead's width apart. You don't want them right on top of the black. I'm going to load my beads. Again, just like the black ones, you just put a whole bunch of beads on there, depending on how good you are at it. Of course, if you're struggling a little bit, then don't put too many. So here I wanted to show you what I did. I put all these beads on, but these are going to go, like you can't turn this corner. You'll end up with a big gap there. So I have too many beads on. So again, I'm going to take, of the ones I put on, I'm going to take 4 of them and take them off. So I'm going to show you how I do that again. So there's the 4 that I want off. Okay. Here's my thread. I'm going to go back through this side. If you go through this side, when you pull, all this thread is going to make a little circle. So you want to go back through the beads this way. And then you just put your needle through here. Again, a little bit harder with the red because they're a little bit smaller. There you go. Hold the tip of your needle, grab your beads, pull your thread through them, and then you have them in your hand. Dump them back in your cup. All right, so let's start. So I'm going to start here. Put them where I want them, which is about there. So I'm going to go down about there and pull my beads to where I want them. Ooh, that's a lot of thread I put on there. All right. So again, same thing as with the black. Okay, I started here, went down. So I'm over here, flip it, I'm going back up to where I started. And I'm going to tack down. Whoop. And at first I'm going to get all tangly. All right, I'm going to tack down this first red bead. So for this one, I think I'm going to go every second bead. I'm going to show you the difference. There's not going to be a big difference, but it doesn't take as much time. So I did the first one, didn't do the second one. I'm going to do the third between these two right here. And you want to keep them close to your black beads. You don't want to have a big gap there. So again, I'm going to come up here a little bit. I'm going to do over here. Whoops, where did I do that? Here we go, right here. And tack those down. Go up here. Yeah, I think I'm going to tack this one. It's a little bit harder to see because they're smaller, But as you can see, they're tacked down. But as you can also maybe see, it sometimes you have one that pops up because you didn't tack it down. As you get better at it, that won't happen. Okay. See, they're not moving. This one's kind of popped up a little bit, but it's okay. It's not going to hurt anything. All right, so I'm going to start again on this side, right where we ended with the new bead. Now, because there's no bead facing this way, this last bead is facing that way, you can't put your needle through and start again. So you don't have to at this point. Okay, you just poke up real close. And you put your red beads on. I'm sorry about the lighting. This little shed of mine, I love my little workshop, but the lighting is not always the greatest. I'm going to move up a little bit so they don't get too cramped. There we go. Now, another thing that I like to tell people about, it's not the safest practice, mind you, but if you go down and you start tacking, because now we're going back here to start tacking, you always tack the first one for sure, close to the black. Whoop, whoop, whoop. It got tangled at the back here. Let me fix that. Just pull it a little bit. My needle ended up going through there. Ooh, that was a close one. All right. So I'm going to tack this first one where I want it. There. In the event that you do this and you get tacking and all of a sudden you realize you got too many beads down here, I use these little, what are these? I keep forgetting what they're called. Nail clippers. And you can actually put one of these beads between it. You want to be really, really careful, of course, not to get the thread. And you can try to cover it with your hand when you're doing it. Turn your face away because you don't want to get this in your eye. It's a very teeny tiny bead, right? It's made of glass, so it will crack. Then you just hold it over the garbage, flick it off, and you're done. Okay? That's in the event that you find you've got too many beads on there. All right, so now I'm going to keep tacking. Tack every second one near the black. Push it over towards it and then tack it. There you go. Gonna go again. And I mean, sometimes you end up doing every second, every third. Like I said, if it's something that you're using that isn't going to be played with a lot, then it's okay. But if it's something like moccasins or mittens that are going to get used a lot, you're going to want to tack every single bead. And again. I'm going to do that one. And you know what? I like to do definitely the very first and the very last bead. So they're where you want them. So here's the last one. Going down here. Tacking it down. Then I'm going to come up. Okay, so I came up a little bit further down. So I'm actually going to go through these two beads because I'm way down here before I put any more red on. All right, so here we go. It starts to look pretty. Now, as you can see, I didn't tack this one down and look at how it's kind of sticking up. You see it's poked out there? I could cut it off, but I don't think I will. I think later when I come back and look at all my work, I'll just go back in and tack it down. All right, so I'm adding more beads here. And here we go. There, Look at how nicely they kind of just fall into place there because they already have the black ones to show them where they're supposed to go. I'm going to tack it right. I'm going to push down there so my beads are, whoops, look at that, trying to make a circle. There we go. And again, push it. Fingernail is perfect for this. I'm going to start over here. And I'm going to tack down the very first one. There we go. Sometimes I start on the wrong end. All right, I'm going to tack every second one. Well, this looks like, let me see, there we go. Yep, every second one so far. Sometimes I get stuck on the corners. There, ta-da. This saves time. It still looks beautiful. I mean, even every third when you're doing the middle. Back here, closer to the black, I think. Yeah. Push it with my fingernail so it lines up. There we go. Go down here, closer to the black. Where's that one close to? Which bead? There we go, right here. Tack that one down. And keep doing the same thing. I know it seems like a lot of thread, and it is, but I think for beginners, this is a good way to do it. So I'm coming back here again. I think I've tacked them. Yep. Right here. Go through this bead here so I can add more red. Right here. As you can see, pulls the thread right through. And then you can add more red. You can kind of measure what you need. Oh, I think I had too many there. Let's see. See if it fits. Nope, it's too many again. So then I decide how many do I want? Probably two about there. Hard to tell, isn't it? But I'm going to go right into the silver. So I'm going to take these two beads off. I know I've showed you a couple of times, but it is awesome because you don't have to take your needle off to get one bead or two beads off. There we go. So now I'm going to go down here close to the silver beads in the center. There we go. And there we are. I'm going to flip it because I want to turn back here. That's where I want to tack the first one. So I'm going back up close to the black. Pull tight. And then tack that first one down. Okay. Now you can go, like I said, every second one. I would do every second one, yeah. Down there. I think I ended up going back to every one. That's just me, I guess. So with this one little bead on the end, you see how it goes right into the center? don't even worry about that. Flowers are never perfect. I kind of like the different things I can do with beads. Like I said, it's like you're drawing a picture with beads. So if you look at this one, I have two here, they're farther apart. These two, and I only have one little one here. I did that on purpose because it's never perfect. All right, move that back out of the way. So now you can see I'm almost done. So I'm coming back up beside this bead right here. And I'm just gonna put a couple of beads in here. Let's see if I have two, what happens. Two. I could probably put a third one, but should I? That's where you have to think about what you're doing. Now, when you're beading, like, yeah, you want to put that extra bead because there's room, but you have to think to yourself that sometimes what'll happen is then you'll end up with, it's a little bit too big, and then you have things like popping up, beads popping up. So sometimes, like, it's better to have a space that's barely seen than beads that are popping up and shouldn't be doing that, right? So I'm just gonna go with two and show you what I mean. There, see, that's not so bad, actually. I'm gonna tack them right in the middle. I might push this one over a teeny bit, right? Pushing it over and pulling it down. Now, when I'm all done, sometimes I go through and I think if I can fit a bead in there, I will. But if not, I'm gonna leave it. All right, so then you just go on to the next. Come up beside the black on this side and start again. Now I'm only gonna go to here, of course, and then stop and then start again. So let's see if this does it. Nope, I'm gonna need a couple more. I'm gonna say two. Let's see how that looks. That looks good to me. Now I'm gonna go down here, close to the black. Oh, the sun is coming out. Makes it much easier for me to light this place. All right, so I went down there. Okay, so I'm gonna come back here to this end, and I'm gonna always tack the first one. Actually, I'm not close enough there. There I am. Tack this one. I'm gonna go over here and tack, I think, this one. Down here. Wherever your thread is closest, like whatever little gap between the two beads your thread is closest to, that's where you want to tack. Even if you do it by accident, you tack like the same one twice, it doesn't matter. It's not going to show. Nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna know. There we go. And there's different ways to bead. The way I'm showing you today, I enjoy doing it. There's another way that you can do it. I'll show you when I get to the next row. Just for the fun of it, I'll show you how it works. So I'm going to do the last one. There. Okay, so they're tacked down. I'm going to come up here, and I want to show you a different way to do it. I mean, you can switch and start doing this if you'd like. It's up to you. Now, this one here, watch what I do. I'm picking up 4. I like to do just 4. And then I put them down where I want them. Okay. Then I go down where I want them, right there. Okay, Okay, so now they're there. So instead of tacking them, what I do is I come up between, so after the first two, before the last two, right there. And then I go through the second and first bead, like so. Pull them, whoops, sorry. And then I push down on my beads and I pull. Look, they're in there. Not as much control with that, but also another easy way to do it. So I'm going to do this whole thing like that so I can show you. Put 4. Make sure you have them where you want them. Push down in front of them. Go through to the back. Then you come up between, there's 4 beads, so you come up in the middle. After the first 2, the next 2, and then you push your needle so that it goes through these ones here and comes out like that. And then you pull. Push on those beads, pull them there. So it works also. Anyway, I'm going to keep going. And when I'm done, I'm going to come back and show it to you. And we'll move to the next step. Hi, we're back. All right. As you can see, I've moved on. Okay, got all the red done. Now at this point, you can take the paper out if you'd like. I think I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So I'm going to take the staples. Yes, that's what they're called. The staples out and pull off the paper. So this is a great way that you can do your beading. If there's a certain thing you want to make, you could draw it right on the foundation, which is the red piece, of course. I like to give myself those things to bead on. Some people just bead freehand. I guess it would be like an artist drawing freehand. But as I draw like stick men, I use this instead. So I'm going to move this needle out of the way and I'm going to show you what I do. So I like to rip the paper off when I'm around this area, around this progression in the project, because it gets really hard to take it out if you do too much more beading. But because we're beading and it's all done with thread, you have to be very careful. So you pull, you rip it, hold your beads. Make sure when you're pulling things out, pulling this paper out, that you're holding on to your beads. As you can see here, because you've been sewing or beading over it with the thread, it kind of makes it a lot easier to get it off because it's already stippled, I guess you'd say. You see my beads, they move. So you have to be so careful when you do this. To do the rest of it, I would say what I use is tweezers. A lady during my last event said that she was very happy I told her about that part, because it does really, really help to be able to get it off. And pulling, like I said, be very gentle when you're doing it. It's hard to be gentle when you're pulling so hard, but make sure you got your thumb on those beads so that the beads are not moving and that you're just pulling the paper off, ripping it off. Now, if this is too hard, go ahead and bead over it. But with the foundation being red, I was lucky enough to find the red. If there's a space between your beads anywhere, this red will show through, so it will be very hard to see it. But if you leave the white is very bright and easy for them, for people to be able to see. So I'm just kind of ripping a little spot here so that I can grab it. Okay, hold the beads. Yeah, it can take quite a while to do it, but it's well worth it. But like I said, be very, very gentle. All right, so I'm going to rip the rest of this off and then I'll be back. Hi there, I'm back. As you can see, the sun came out, gave me lots of wonderful light. I wanted to show you what I've done. So now you can see that I've taken out the paper. There's tiny little pieces left, which, whoops, sorry. Let me move over here where you can see me. Tiny pieces that are there. They're not really gonna show, the little wee ones, so I wouldn't worry too much. So we're gonna keep going and fill it all in with the red, but I wanted to show you really quick other things that I've been looking at. So this one I did not very long ago. I just added some gold beads from the centers to put them through. You can leave this as it is if you wanted to. Put your backing on there. It still looks beautiful. Some people like to leave just a little spot of the red fabric or foundation. Okay, but I'm going to do the whole thing. So I'm going to start again. Now that I've done all of this area here, we have the middle of the petals. So you can do what you'd like with that. Like I said, you can do it this way. You can do it this way. As you can see, I went around this petal and then I just went back and forth, back and forth. And this one here, I went this way, okay? You can go up and down, you can go sideways, whatever you want to do. It is your project. All right, so I think I'm gonna go, oh, look at that. I missed a couple right here. I'm gonna put those in there really quick. I think it's gonna take maybe 2 beads. Funny, I didn't notice that when I was ripping out the paper. All right, whoops, I grabbed the back. There we go. Now I'm just gonna tack them down right in the center. And there we go, because it was just 2, I'm just tacking it right in the middle. There. All right, so now I've completed that. So I'm going to start here, I think. Maybe I will go back and forth this time. Meh, you can kind of do whatever you like. I'm going to start here. You know what? I think I'm just going to go back around again. I kind of like how that looks. So maybe I'll do two rounds. Like this. Oh, I got one or too many beads, maybe 1. Yeah, I'm going to take 1 off. Whoops, pulled the wrong way. What have I done? Okay, let me try to do that again. It's on this end. Here we go. All right. We can start. All right, so I have the number of beads that I want without making them pucker or anything like that. So I'm going to move them now and go down right here. You're going to notice that this is a little more flimsy without the paper, but it's not bad at all. There we go. And again, you go back to where you first started and you tack it down. You're going to get so tired of hearing me say, tack it down. For this one, there's no lines to follow. So you basically just go along, keep it as close as you can to your other beads beside it, because you don't want gaps. Okay, I'm going to do this one. I keep going. This one, yeah. The sunshine's not so bad. Kind of shows a little bit better, I'm hoping, for you guys. Like I said, you can go every bead or every second. It really is like drawing, but with beads. I'm going to add more kits to my what would you call that, inventory, I guess you'd say. I'm thinking about doing Christmas trees, things like that for the little ones maybe. Of course, they would need to have mom or dad with them when they're doing it, to make sure nobody gets hurt. These needles can be pretty They're pretty sharp. There we go. A little bit too low. There we go. Put my thumb there so it goes where I want it. And there we go. So you can see another line of beads. I'm going to start another one here. I'm going to start right in the center of that little junction. Digging in my little bead cup. It's actually a little medicine cup that I have at home, and I was like, oh, that's kind of perfect. You could do them one by one off of your mat. It's a great way to relax, stay calm, just enjoy what you're doing. You'll notice many of you, the beads that you have are all mixed up, and that's so that you take your needle and enjoy your time just separating your beads. I'm a nurse, and I also have attention deficit disorder, and beading helps me so much. I find feeling the beads, making things with the beads so wonderful, and sorting the beads has taught me to just catch my breath, you know, just relax. I find myself digging through my beads like a little maniac. And I think, okay, stop, take a deep breath, and try again. Because it's not a race. When you take your time and you're beading, you're not racing to get something done. You use it as, it's almost like therapy for me. I really enjoy doing it. And forcing myself to take that breath sometimes and just relax is important. It works for me. So I'm glad I'm able to share that with some of you who may be struggling with the same thing I do, right? Good time to practice mindfulness, thinking about your day, thinking about what's going on. Good time to say your prayers if you pray. It's just, to me, it's beautiful. And the beads, oh my goodness, the beads. My husband teases me and calls me a raccoon because once I see them, I can't put those shiny beads down. So there you go. There's another little bit there. Done. I'm going to keep going. So this one here, the bead does face out, so I'm able to go back here and go through that bead. Well, if I can get it. There we go. Ta-da. And I try to do this rest of the part here. Get us some beads on there. Hopefully not go over, but you never know. If you do, I'll show you how. Oh, I went over. So they will connect there. It will look seamless. You push them down as far as you want them to go. So I'm going to want it to go to about there. Let's check it again. Yep, that's about right. So I'm going to take these 4 off. Put your needle through, grab those beads, grab your thread, pull them right off. There you go. So now I know they're going to fit, so I'm going to go right in the center there. Get them as far up in there as I can. There we go. And then I'm going back to where I started here to start tacking them down. Oh, that one's a little bit far for tacking. Sometimes that happens too. See how far it came out, but that's okay. The next set of beads is going to go right over top of that. There we go. Okay, that's just going to fit without buckling my other beads. Sorry if I keep moving out of the shot. Trying to get a better look at it. There we go. So as I was saying, during my classes, I do have other kits available. This one, of course, is for Remembrance Day, which is past. If anybody would like to purchase a kit to work on Poppy for next year, please feel free to contact me, Jennifer at at Honeybead Métis. So my email is honeybead, B-E-A-D, Métis, M-E-T-I-S, at gmail.com. See that little bead? It's kind of sticking up, bugging me a little bit, but that's okay. I'm going to see what happens as I go. All right, so I'm going to keep doing them. I'm going to do the same thing again, and I'll be back. See you soon. Now I'm going to go across this way just to see what happens. So let me start. You know what? I'm going to start here with the same red. I mean, you could change your red. You can do whatever you want with your stuff that you want to use. You could use a different color of red. You could use a different color if you wanted to, but for a poppy, I'm going to stick with the red. So as you can see here, I'm going this way, making it fit. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to go down right here, close to the red as I can get, right? You don't want gaps. And then I'm going to start tacking it down. I came out here, so I'm going to spin it, and I'm going to start tacking here. All right, make it kind of fit there. And then over I go. Tacking that one. I'm going to tack the second one here because I want it to stay close, but as I've said many times, oh, actually I'm going to do the third one. You can tack every single bead, or every third bead, or second bead. Oh my God, I can't speak this morning. It's too early. And the very last one. You're going to notice that your needle is getting bent. That's okay. It's all good. It shows you're working hard with it. There's that one. Now I'm going to start on this side. I think that fits pretty good there too. So I'm going to go right here, poke down, pull through, start tacking actually on this side. See that little loop? It's going in the second one. I don't want it there. I want it in the third, so I'm going to pull up a little bit with my needle, put it where I want it, put my thumb there, and make it go where I want it. There you go. And then this last one. Ta-da, I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to keep going. Right here. I think that's only going to be 4 or 5 beads. Oh, there we go. I got 4 beads. I'm going to add another one. Sorry if you can hear my heater. It's getting cold. So much frost this morning. And yeah, I'm not a cold lover. I have what they call cold urticaria, which unfortunately means that I get hives and that it's very painful for my body, the cold, but that's okay. I keep myself toasty warm in here. So I hope you've been enjoying making your poppy. And again, with this video, it's great that you can stop and start when you want to. You don't want to get frustrated. Gonna go in right there. That might be 4 beads. I'm gonna try 4. And there we go, yep, 4. I'm gonna go down about there. You don't want it to go down right at the same bead at the previous row. It needs its own little bit of space for it to look nice. So this one doesn't take a lot of tacking if you don't do every one. It's only 2. The first one and the last one. As you get further down here, you might need 2 beads, you might need 3. Let's see what's gonna need. Very happy with how that looks. It's beautiful in this light. I'm trying to keep it so that you guys can see. So that one is going to take, let me see, it's going to take the 3. It doesn't always work like that, but as you're going along and working on this, you may notice some of the beads that you've put on previously aren't as tight as you want them to be. Go ahead, go down, go back to it, and tack it down again. Nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna see the back of this because we're going to put the leather on for the backing. There we go. Oh, that's a little too far away from it. There we go. if I'm lucky, this will be 2 and the next will be 1. Or these 2 might be the last ones that fit. Push them in, see how they fit. Let me show you, get a little closer. And they fit. Look at that. Beautiful. And that's all I'm going to have to do is these last 2 beads on this petal and I'm done. Pull them tight. Tack between the 2 of them. And there you go. See this one here? I don't know if you can see this one. It's sticking up. It's kind of bugging me. I may go back and try to tack that again. Or I might just leave it. Nothing's perfect. Yeah, it's a bigger bead, I think. And that's probably what happened there. But that's okay. Nobody's really going to notice it now that I pointed it out, perhaps. So I hope that helps. I'm going to finish doing these 3 and I'll be back. Thanks. Hi there. We're back. I've completed my poppy. I think it turned out rather well. What I want to show you now is how to get rid of the extra fabric here. Now this is a very, very important step because you want to make sure as you're cutting close to your beads not to cut your threads. If you cut one of these teeny tiny threads, it will unravel. And that's the last thing that we want. See, that one scared me. This one here looked like it was far out when really it's just the end of a knot. So I'm okay there. Now I like to use these little scissors. These are rounded. Let me turn my light on here. Make sure you guys can see better. I hope that's better. Yes, I think it is. All right. So as you're cutting, you want to make sure you cut close, but don't cut those threads. So I like to cut from back here. Now hopefully I won't show you me making the boo-boo of cutting my thread. So I stay pretty far, you know, go down a little bit here, but up. A lot of the times as you're going, you can feel the beads. I'm just going to go on the outskirts here. Outskirts. Go around the edge and then we'll get closer and closer. Show you how it works. Now I can feel the beads with my scissors, so I know I'm getting pretty close. All right, now see this side? You can still see that. Now a lot of that is going to get hidden by your beads when we do the perimeter of it. So when we do the outside here, the edging with other beads, it'll hide a lot of it. But you still want to get kind of close as you can without, you know, ooh, it's always a bit scary. I've done this actually in a class where I'm showing people how to do this and cut my beads. Oh my goodness. I cut that and they all fell off and I was like, so that's exactly what you don't want to do. It was rather embarrassing for the teacher or instructor to be trying to show them how and yet do it, you know. Try a little bit here. I'm going to cut some off here. I'm going to go down in that little crack. But like I said, not too close to the threads. Try to round that one a little bit. Teeny scissors work well. Bigger scissors will too, but if you can get a small pair, it gives you a little bit more control when you're cutting this off. So it's not going too bad. I'm going to keep going a little bit closer down into here, but not all the way to there, to the thread. Round it off a little bit. See, there's still a lot of room there to clip a little bit. Here. The closest I can get, I like that, but like I said, be very, very careful, especially if you're a beginner. it's hard when you cut from that side. You have to be careful because you can't see exactly what you're doing. Here, there's still a lot here. Starting to look the way I like it. See, these little edges let you clip just a teeny tiny bit. So there, as you could see, and I still have a little room here. Cut that off. Cut that off. I don't think I'm willing to go too much closer. You can put your thumb there too if you want to. Will help keep your stitch safe. And there we go. Okay, so all of this can go in the garbage, of course. I want that out of the shot, so you're not looking at all that. So this is what I'm left with. Can I cut that? Let's see. Not really. There's a tiny, oh no, is that a knot end? No, it's a stitch. So I don't want to go too much closer. I'm going to snip beside it. You can't even see that, can you? There we go. Clipping beside it. Get that little wee piece off. And if I don't, it's fine. It's not going to hurt anything. Do it from this side. I like it to be a little bit rounded. But like I said, if not, that's fine too. It's going to be hidden by the beads. So this is the point where you're going to put on your red leather backing and your pin and your edging. So these are the three things that we need to do that. So I'm going to get you to take your pin apart. There's a little wee one stuck there. You take that off and this is what you're left with, that little pin. Now, I want you to look for the center, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Again, this is going to be the back. Nobody's going to see this part unless they're looking at your pin for you, like wanting to see it. So look for the center. You know what you could do is probably find your center probably about here. There. Gave myself a little mark. Now this, you're pushing this little pin through it. So hold your pin, hold it tight, and poke it right through. There we go. Okay, you can see your pin is through. You want to put the edge, or I mean the actual backing on your pin. Now, there you go. That's what it's going to look like when it's on the back. So from here, because it goes on the back of this and it fits this way, okay, like that, you're going to want to put a little bit of glue here. Some people like to glue the whole back, and that is up to you. You can do that. Try not to get your all the way to the edges because you have to sew through the edging to get it on here. So if you wanted to, you could put glue all the way out. I sometimes just do a little dab of glue in here and on top, squish it all in, push it, you know. Let me show you how I do it. Now, do I have glue around here? I do. This is the glue that I use, the E6000 glue. This one hasn't even been opened, so I'm going to see if I can find one that has been. Nope, I'm not seeing one, so I'm just going to open this one. You can see it hasn't been opened yet. You just poke the end. There you go, it's open. Now for this, I'm going to go all great big dollop of this E6000 glue. I rub it right in, don't worry, it doesn't get your fingers all stuck in it. Okay, you could do that and let it dry. Or like I said, you can do even more. You can add more glue on the outside here if you wanted to. Just yuck. Actually, I shouldn't say yuck. I love glue. When I was a kid, oh my gosh, I don't know how I passed pre-K and pre-kindergarten. I was always just snipping away. I mean, gluing away, snipping away, always making something And my teacher was like, oh my goodness, Jennifer, you have more glue on your hands than your project. But I used to do it on purpose because I love to peel it off. Okay, so here we go. See that? Now that's lots of glue. I'm going to put my poppy right on top of that. Now it's not going to fit perfect, but that's okay because as you're beading, you're going to pull it towards itself. You're going to pull it in there. So this piece stretches. A lot of this stuff stretches, and you'll notice when you're sewing your backing on, it's going to stretch, and that's okay. So for now, I'm going to leave this to dry. And once it's dry, I'm going to come back and show you how to do the edging and how to complete your poppy. See you soon. Okay, guys, I'm back again. Mine is all dry. I'm ready to do the edging. So for this, what's going to happen is while you're putting your edging, excuse me, hiccup. While you're putting your edging on, it's also going to sew your leather. So I want to show you how to hide a knot. So your first stitch has a knot, of course. So what you want to do is pull the leather back at the edge a little bit. Go through just the foundation, close to the red. Okay. All the way through, and see your knot is hidden. So when you sew over this part again, nobody's going to see that knot. So here you see, that's how that worked. So you go in on this side, underneath the leather, pull it all the way, and your little knot will sit there and be hidden. All right, so now we're going to put 2 beads on your needle. Okay, now the beads you're using now are the bigger beads because they are edging your project. See here, adding that little extra je ne sais quoi. All right, so you start with 2 beads. Bring them all the way down to your project. All right. And then you go through, lay them down like this, go through the red foundation and through the leather, just the edge of your leather. Okay, you see that? And you push through. When you pull them up, you have one here, which is your beginner bead, and then you have the second one. So what I want you to do now is take your needle and go through that bead. Okay? Now what that's going to do is lay that bead down for you. Ta-da! This is the edging. There's different edgings that you can do, but this is the one we're doing today. Okay? So from now on, you only need one bead. So let me show you. Again, bring that all the way down to your project. Go through your foundation, the red foundation, about a bead's width apart, and then go through your leather. Don't forget to go through the leather, okay? That is what is sewing your leather to your project. And again, go up from the bottom through to the top with your needle. Whoops, there we go, of that bead. And when you pull tight, it pulls it down. As you can see, these beads are right beside each other. That's what you want, okay? You want to make sure they're tight also. Don't pull it so tight that it's affecting where your bead is, but put this bead on, go through the red foundation, and go through the leather. See the leather here? Just the edge. You don't have to go far. Most of this on the back, nobody's going to see. So nobody's going to know. All right. Go through that bead. Pull it tight. And you can see. There we go. Again, another bead. All the way to your project. Go through the red foundation about a bead's width apart. And don't forget to catch your red leather. That stretches, so it's great for when you're doing stuff with it, especially this, because as you can see, it's really hard to make it fit. You don't know exactly where it's going to cut when you're trimming, so you don't get your thread. So it's good that this stretches a little bit as you go. right, there's the other bead. Okay, I'm going to put another one on. Again, just one. I'm going to go through the red foundation. About a bead's width, oops, not too much. Bead's width apart, pick up your leather, pull it through. And there's your next one. So we're gonna do this all the way around this poppy, picking up another bead, bringing it down to my project, going through the red foundation and the red leather on this side of the beads, of the black beads. Don't go through here, you wanna go through here. If you go through the black, you'll misplace them. I don't think it would make a big difference. I believe though that it would misplace your black beads and make them look a little strange. Look at, see, there's a little wee white piece of paper still. If you can pull them out, pull them out. If you can't, just leave them. But I like to take them out. As long as it's not a thread I'm pulling on, I should be okay. Hold your thread or your needles. Oh my God, your beads, there. I almost got the whole thing. All right. We're gonna keep going. So again, grab a bead, put it on. You can move it out of the way as you're doing this part. Now on this side of the black beads, go through the red foundation, through the red leather, pull it, and then go through from the bottom of that bead, whoops, through the middle of the bead to the top, and that lays your bead down. Ta-da! I really like this look. You can add more. In my own personal opinion, I find when I add more beads and they pile up, they're very pretty, but that takes away from the actual poppy, in my opinion. If you know how to do a different edging, by all means, you go ahead and do that. It's your poppy, your project. So you can go right ahead and do that and I will not be offended. All right, again, one more time. Whoops, missed my leather. Or pull your leather through, poke through the leather without poking through your fingers, which can sometimes be hard. Ow, see? Oh my God, I should not jinx myself. No blood, it's all good. And put that one on and then go through it from the bottom up and lay it down with that. Ta-da. There we go. So I'm going to keep going. I think I missed one here. See that? Anyway, I'm going to keep going all the way around and I'll meet you back here so I can teach you how to finish this poppy. See you soon. Hi guys. Now the sun's coming out again, changing my lighting. So I've done my beading all the way around for the edging. So now what I want to show you is, okay, do you see where I am? Here's the last bead I put on, and here's the first bead that I put on. So now what you're going to want to do is connect these two, okay? So go, take your needle, go down through this bead, okay? Pull it all the way down through the top of that bead, okay? Now we've connected it, so then we go through this part here. Let me take a peek here. Oh my, oh my. Make sure they sit properly. That's the problem. So now I want to take my thread to make it sit properly. Okay, I'm going to put it so that this goes down through here. All right. See? Then they're on each other. Now they've connected, they're joined. Then what you want to do, I want to finish this off. So I'm going to go back up through this bead. I like to do this part. Back up through this bead. If you get, there we go. Hope you can see that. pull all the way through. So in this way, it ends up being at the back. Okay, so we're going to finish it off by going through a couple of these little stitches. Go under them, not through them, but under that one. As you can see, I'm going to go under this one. And pull. This is just to hide it while we're getting ready to tie a little knot. Okay, so under this last one, hard to get that one. And that's okay, there you go. So that's under 3 of them. I think that's pretty good. So on the 4th one, you're gonna go underneath, or the 3rd, or wherever you choose to tie it. You go under, whoops, under here, just under the thread. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter if you go under the leather too, but I like to go just under the thread. Okay. Keep a little loop here. Okay. So this little loop is what's going to tie your knot. So I go through it once, through it twice, and pull. And there we go. I'm going to go through one more because then it'll kind of pull your knot underneath. And ta-da! You've completed your poppy. I'm going to snip this off. Wish I had sun all day like that. It'd be beautiful, but kind of comes and goes. But I like to do it in the sunshine. So look at that. You are now finished your poppy. They're all standing where you like them. Ta-da! I really enjoyed making this poppy. I've made a couple. There's one. There's one. Let me see if I can find the other one that I've started. I've started quite a few. Here's another one that I'm doing. Here's another one that I'm doing. So I'm having a really good time doing these. So feel free to do what you want with them. This is one from Orange Shirt Day, of course. I want to be able to do more of those, and there are more kits available. If you contact me, I can let you know what they are, but I'll be sending out some marketing stuff soon. Anyway, I hope you had a great time. I know I did. Thank you so much for staying and beading with me at Honeybead Métis. Have a great day. Bye.